Hello everybody. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Amarsha and I'm from group number 4. Today I would like to talk to you about the experience of my first assignment. First of all, I will explain for requirement 1 and I will continue by giving the example and briefly explaining it. Then I will share my experience with requirement 2 and 3. In requirement 1, we have to describe the ERG. In that case, there are three entities: worker, task, and allocation. Worker to allocation has a many to many, one to many relationship. How would I know it? See, these symbols means this is many side, this is single side. And then what is the relationship between allocation and task? It's look also same, right? So it means this also one to many relationship. Now I am going to describe relationship between these entities. Worker to allocation. One worker may have many allocations and one allocation must have one worker. Why may and must? Because of this line. This line means must sound. It means one allocation must have one worker, but one worker may have many allocations. If they also has a line like that, it means also must down, but there isn't no. That's why I describe like that. Now, now let's describe the relationship between allocation and task. There is also has a line like that, no? So it's mean one allocation must have one task. One task may have many allocations. So simply that's it. Now I think that covers the describing part. So let's move to the next slide. Now I'm going to talk about the drop table statement. Let's move to the next slide. Drop table statement. If you want to delete a table, use this statement. This statement help you to delete the table that you want. In requirement 2, we have to drop all tables. So that's why I did like this. If you want any drop table, you can use syntax like this drop table and that table what you want to delete. Lastly, I will share my experience with requirement 3. In requirement 3, we have to create table statement. Create a table. So we have to create in requirement 3 we have to create a table work table, task table, and allocation table. For that we can use create table statement. For using create table statement we must follow this syntax. This this syntax. Let's see how to create a table. First of all, we must search for strong entities and weak entities from ERD. In that case, worker and task are the strong entities and allocation is the weak entity. How would I know it? See, work and task look same and allocation is not. See, work and task are look same but allocation is not. Entities like that means weak entities. So allocation is a weak entity. So we must create a worker and task table first and then create allocation table. We can create worker table like this in create table worker. Worker means worker table name and then these are the columns of worker table: worker ID, worker name, worker gender, years service, status. Uh, Primary key we assign in here as a worker ID. Worker ID is the primary key, so it should not be a null value. So that's why I use not null value, not null keyword. Then this in this line, there we use a check constraint. See this line. This line we use check constraint. Check constraint is used to limit the value range that can be placed in the column in this case, we use check constraint to limit the work gender column. So like this, we limit it, and user must input MOF. In next slide, we create task table. For create the task table, we can do it like this, and create table task. Task is the table name, and task ID, description, and category type are the column of the this table, and primary key is the task ID. We assign it in here, and primary key should not be a null value, so that's why we use not null constraint in here. We can create task table like this. So I think you all got the point, and let's move the next slide. Finally, we can create allocation table like this. Can you guys see any differences in here from other tables? See, in this line and this line, we use foreign key constraint. We use foreign key constraint. That's why I told you before, we must create this table in last. We have to get work ID and task ID from work table and task table. So that's why I told you before, we have to do it in last. And these are the primary keys of this table. Primary key of this table. This is the primary key, work ID and task ID. And so for foreign key constraint, we use reference keyword to mention that where the foreign key comes from, and we assign the primary keys in here, and for all the primary keys is should not null value. That's why we use not null constraint in here, and we use another check constraint in, or in also in this table, check constraint for checking our rate between 0 and 299. So like this, we can create allocation table. Then let's move to the next slides. This is the reference slide. Now let's move to the next slide. Thank you all for watching my video. If you have any question, please drop your message in comment section. Thank you.